This is a topic that's been going around the last couple days again, and to be honest, it's a topic in the fighting game community that's been going on for years at this point, and I want to put my 2 cents on it. And that is essentially, are we in the golden age of fighting games? A friend of mine, I think it goes by the name of It's the Leafer is his current screen name. I don't want to put government and personal names out here. We were talking about it, and honestly, it also showed up in another Discord of mine. And at this point, I gotta say that no, I don't know what Idom's talking about. We are not in a new golden age of fighting games. We are in a modern age of fighting games. That's undeniable. But to say we're in a new golden age is kind of, at best, I'm gonna say really, 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 really hopeful and optimistic. And at worst, you're trolling or saying that it's not that good and you're trying to be funny about it. Right, but even outside of that, I'm going to stick to what I think. So no, I don't think we're in a new golden age of fighting games. And as somebody who's been playing fighting games since he's been like 4 years old, and I am now 28, almost 30 now, so you can call me Unc, whatever. I've seen a lot of different versions of fighting games. I was not there at the beginning, but at this point, most people who are getting into the franchise, I've been there for a long time. And a lot of people seem to not realize that there are different eras of fighting games. There's obviously the pre-91. I would say that the golden age of fighting games was from 1991 to 1999. Then you have the 2000s to 2009. Some people call it the dark age. I wouldn't. It really depends on who you ask. The third era would be the 09er to the 2019. So I would say that's about the Renaissance, not even Renaissance, but like the resurgence. Then we have 2019 to wait. Hold on, let me make sure. Pre-91, 1990 to 1999. Okay, then we got 2000 to 2009. Okay, then we got 2010 to, that's what it was. 2010 to 2020, and then we got 2020 to, or 2010 to 2019, then we have 2020 to now, right? Those like 4 or 5 distinct eras. I kind of lost my train of thought there for a second. Excuse me. But there is in no way that the modern age of fighting games in 2026 can compare to the golden age of 1990 to 1999, and cannot even compare to 09 to 2019. Now, what do I mean by that? The first reason is the quality of the game. Let's be honest with ourselves. If we put Street Fighter 2, Street Fighter 3, and Street Fighter 6 next to each other, we're going to put Street Fighter Alpha in there. I am going to put Street Fighter Alpha in there because I don't like how people keep forgetting about Street Fighter Alpha. But even when we have Street Fighter Alpha, okay, there's no way that Street Fighter 6 can measure up to Street Fighter 2 and 3 in terms of quality. Because the modern era of fighting game design does not have the quality. It's way too focused on accessibility. It's way too focused on esports. It's way too focused on trying to get the numbers and maintain those numbers. It's way too focused on the bounce, patch, update, social media culture. And worst of all, it's way too important, or way too focused on changing the design to fit people who will not take the game seriously, nor do they respect themselves, and fighting games don't respect themselves enough to encourage people to build those skills. Because I'm going to have a whole nother video coming out, which is going to be, is skill rewarded in older games or newer games? I've asked a couple different people, I got a couple different opinions, but I won't spoil that video. But let's just say that skill is rewarded in older games more than newer games, or it's a little bit more complex than that, right? But just to stay on topic, Street Fighter 6 is not a better fighting game than Street Fighter 3. Tekken 8 is not a better fighting game than Tekken 5 or Tekken 3. Virtua Fighter 6 is not out yet, but I doubt that's going to be a better fighting game than VF5 or VF4 or VF2. Marvel Tokon does not look like it's going to hold up to Marvel vs. Capcom 3 and below. Why is that? Kind of going into point number 2 is because they are trying to get everybody's attention in the social media age. I kind of touched on this in point 1, but let's be honest with ourselves. If you go online right now, you're going to see everybody talking about a fighting game, whether it's good, bad, indifferent. You're going to see everybody having an opinion. You're going to see everybody sharing tech or telling about why this character is broken, or this tier list matters or it doesn't matter, or how much money this is, or now we got the FGC vibes versus the Marvel Rivals vibes. And yes, The fact that fighting game players are talking about $40,000 versus $5 in a Chipotle gift card, which is really stupid when you think about the fact that esports is trying to give $1 million prize pools to do things like what Marvel Rivals and other games do on a daily. So if we're going to really talk about it, Marvel Rivals vibes money is $40,000 when the FGC they keep trying to bring back and refer to in these jokes, which is the old FGC, which is what I'm talking about right now, is actually the one that's fighting for no money. It is really focusing on skill and essence of game design and local grassroots situations. So it's really funny to me that when people talk about the FGC and we're talking about the vibes, we're still talking about the poverty era FGC, which is really strange when people really say they hate Street Fighter 6, but yet Street Fighter 6 is the game that everybody supports and no one really plays the other games. If Street Fighter 3 is so much better than Street Fighter 6, why does it have no entrance at EVO comparatively, right? Why are the communities still trying to do so much to keep their game alive when if the game was really that hot, Capcom should do everything it can to keep it alive as well as the newer game? Well, that's because everybody knows that people can't play Street Fighter 3 like that, but they prefer watching it. And when you see a hype moment in Street Fighter 3, like the Evo Moment 38, that's way cooler, and that's way more impressive, and that's way more technical, and that inspires way more hype and way more things on the internet than somebody doing something kind of cool in Street Fighter 6. Let's just be honest with ourselves, right? Like I haven't been playing a lot of City of the Wolves lately. Marvel Rivals really likes to take like 100 gigs of my C drive, but now it kind of made itself a little smaller so I can get back in City of the Wolves. And I've always been saying that SNK games, they have more of their old school design essence baked in to their fighting games, but nobody plays them and nobody buys them in comparative. I'm not saying it's literally 0 and 0, but if we're looking at Street Fighter to, like, let's say Fatal Fury, no one's really playing Fatal Fury because of the social media situation, or because of the AI trailer, or because of this, that, and the third, right? So they're not really going to give it a chance or give it support, but they will hate on Street Fighter 6, and then when they don't like low forward drive rush, you know what, let's go into point number 3. The community itself is killing the games, right? Because there's no way that people can sit here and tell me that they're asking for, let's say, a low forward drive rush to be deleted from Street Fighter 6, and then when they start making characters that don't have that low forward drive rush, all of a sudden, magically, people are saying these characters suck because they don't have low forward drive rush. Like, you didn't just complain, quote unquote, for a whole bunch of time to get low forward drive rush going. So which is it? There's no way if people are playing 2XKO, because I don't like 2XKO that much, right? But a lot of the things that that game is doing, they would condemn other companies for doing it. But because it's 2XKO, and because it's free to play or it's live service, a lot of people are excusing that. However, that game is still showing a lot of its problems. I made a whole video about why I don't like 2XKO, and newsflash, to me, it hasn't gotten any better. But let me stay focused. The golden age of fighting games, honestly, there is not going to be a new golden age of fighting games because the golden age is the golden age for a reason. Look at comic books. There is no new golden age of comic books. There is no new 1940s era comic books. You can have peaks, you can have valleys, you can have primes, you can have new seasons, you can have new beginnings, you can have new peaks, but you're not going to be able to recreate the new age of the golden age of fighting games. Like, what does that mean? What would represent the golden age of fighting games? I don't know that well right now, right? I'd have to sit down and really think about it. But let's just use Street Fighter 2, let's say Virtua Fighter, and let's say Tekken. Actually, I don't even know. I'm not going to try to figure that out right now. But you have to figure out what represents the golden age of fighting games, and then think, is the modern age really able to do that? Yes, they could do something like that, but it requires a different level of focus, and it requires a different attention, and it requires a different direction than what modern fighting games are doing, and really modern gaming is doing right now. You wouldn't have the same amount of social media complaints, you wouldn't have the same amount of money put into it, and you wouldn't have the same amount of design decisions. There's no way that people can say Street Fighter 6 is a new golden age of fighting games when they're making themselves easier to get other people to get into the game, and then the way they get other people into the game destroys the essence from the inside, because if you keep doing that without having real quality all of a sudden you're going to be left with a game that is a shell of its former self. And if you keep asking for people to change things, to buff things, to nerf things, to patch this out, to do this and do that, you're not actually making the game any better or worse. You're just making the game more safe and stale, right? And then, if really quick, because I'm trying to keep this at 10 minutes, but I kind of lost my train of thought. But excuse me, there we go. Sorry, my computer went silent for a second. I know where it went. The third thing is that the franchise needs to be in a certain place, right? I'm all for franchises being bigger and having more reach and having more money put behind it, but I need the quality and I need the spirit to still be alive. Look at Marvel, look at DC, look at any company right now who's popular that has had long-running franchises, and you'll see that a lot of people prefer the older things as they get out of. When the older thing is no longer the new thing, people prefer the old thing because the old thing usually, not always, was made with better quality and better intentions. People hated Street Fighter 3 when it came out. People didn't like Marvel 2 that much when it came out. People didn't like Street Fighter 4 when it came out. People didn't like Tekken 7. People did blah, blah, blah. You name it, people probably had a problem with it. But the design and the care around it meant that it could hold up in time. Look at Street Fighter 5. Nobody's really playing that game right now because after its time in the sun, nobody really wants to go back to it. But, you know, nostalgia means people might go back to it in the next 10, 15 years. Who knows? But at the end of the day, there is no new golden age of fighting games. The modern age is the modern age of fighting games with its own cons and a few pros. But at the end of the day, I don't think there's a new golden age of fighting games, and it is disingenuous to both the modern and the old to try to make that comparison or make that distinction. But I do want to open it up to the comments section below. What do you think? Is there a new age of fighting games? Am I just talking out my neck? Is there not a new age? Is there not a new golden age of fighting games? What do y'all think? Let me know in the comment section below. As you can hear, I got a little bit more passionate about this than I thought I was because I didn't have a script, but somehow, some way, it all worked out in the end, right? So like I said, keep up. Well, not keep up. I'm sorry. That was a completely different video. You didn't have to be here, but you chose to be here, which means a lot to me. Shout out to It's the Leafer for putting the discussion up in our Discord, our group chat, and then also shout out to the other Discord server that I was talking to this in as well. Make sure that you live with style and substance, and also make sure you turn your pain into power. And if you are interested in more fighting game content, I have a bunch of ideas planned that I haven't actually put into fruition. So if that's something you are interested in seeing, or if you want to see me talk about fighting games more, just let me know and I'll start doing that again like I was before. And with that, take care, and I'll catch you on the next video.